Thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Clark.
And I'm Kim Christensen. Days into President Trump's second term, we're learning more about how federal immigration enforcement will work here in Colorado.
Buckley Space Force Base in Aurora will be used to process deportations once Trump's mass roundups begin here. 9 News reporter Rachel Krause is out there for us tonight. And Rachel, ICE is already setting up at Buckley.
Yeah, USNorth.com says as of yesterday, ICE will be able to stage and process people here at Buckley Space Force Base. They say this is at the request of the Department of Homeland Security.
Day one, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history.
1 week into President Trump's second term, and action is underway. The Buckley Space Force Base said the military base will be used as a facility to stage and process people in the country without authorization. The president has talked about deporting every person in the U.S. without authorization. He claims it could be more than 20 million people. His administration lacks the detention space needed to carry out its promise of the largest deportation in American history.
We will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came.
The base says the Department of Homeland Security requested ICE use Buckley as a temporary operation and holding location. The president has said he wants local police to help assist with deportations. That's illegal under Colorado law. He has talked about using military resources. When asked whether personnel at Buckley would be working in this deportation facility, the base says the operation will be staffed by ICE and federal agents.
Promises made, promises kept.
Whether anyone is being held here now isn't clear, and this situation could evolve quickly. NBC News is reporting that ICE could begin large-scale roundups in Aurora as soon as Thursday morning. Reporting live in Aurora, Rachel Krause, 9 News.
A man wanted in Aurora, seen on video, armed and breaking into an apartment complex last year, was arrested today in New York. This video, taken last August, caught national attention as armed men were seen breaking into a unit at the Edge at Lowry Apartments. Aurora police announced Anderson Zambrano Pacheco was arrested this morning in New York. He was wanted on charges of burglary and menacing and currently has 3 open cases in Colorado. APD says 5 of the 6 men in that video are now in custody.
We know from past history that not all of the people arrested by ICE and its partner agencies are actually eligible for deportation. Some will turn out to be American citizens, some will be immigrants with legal authorization to be here. People who are detained in Colorado will now have fewer resources to fight deportation after an order from the Trump administration ended one organization's work. On Trump's second day in office, a notice was sent to the Rocky Mountain Immigrant Advocacy Network, or REMAIN.
We received a stop work order saying that we were no longer allowed to conduct any of the work that we do under 3 programs.
How much of your overall programs do these 3 programs make up?
It's about 25% of our work. And I think what is even more alarming than the impact on Remain is really what it means in terms of access for folks who are before both immigration courts in Colorado.
The executive director says their 3 programs provide legal information to people detained at the ICE facility in Aurora and offer critical services in immigration court. Only about 15% of people in detention proceedings have legal representation. Studies have shown that when a lawyer is involved, people are 10 times more likely to win their case in immigration court. That's often the moment when people learn they qualify for some kind of temporary or permanent status in the country.
It was another really nice day around the Denver metro area. Look at people out walking around, just a jacket. The unseasonably warm temperatures returned, helping to melt off all that snow that we picked up this month. Clouds are expected to return tomorrow ahead of the next storm.
All right, let's bring in meteorologist Chris Spears to talk about that. Hey, Chris.
Hey there, good evening. It had a little bit of a spring vibe to the air today. It was beautiful. I can finally see my road in Evergreen. It finally melted. We are 34 degrees right now here at the airport with a light wind out of the north-northwest. Skies are clear just about statewide, and temperatures really for this time of the year, this time of the night, not too bad. A lot of 20s and 30s showing up here on the map. We do have some of those usual cold spots. Kremling, I'm sorry, you're 9 below zero. It's very cold there tonight. tonight, 8 below up in Hayden. Most of the state clear, a little bit of cloud cover coming into our southwestern corner with a few very, very light snow showers starting to show up here on radar. This is all part of a cutoff low pressure drifting over Arizona. It will be in our neck of the woods this time tomorrow, and it promises a little bit of a change. So quiet tonight, mostly sunny tomorrow. Most of the day will be okay. Kim and Kyle, changes tomorrow night. I'll have the details in the forecast.
Okay, thanks, Chris.
There's widespread confusion today when the Trump administration issued a memo that paused all federal financial assistance that the administration says conflicts with Trump's agenda.
A federal judge paused that memo from taking effect until Monday. 9 News reporter Janelle Finch is following this story. Janelle, leaders in healthcare say without these funds, the impacts could be devastating.
That's right. A 149-page lawsuit from state health leaders across the country details the impacts of losing federal funding. Colorado health officials say care providers would lose billions. A block from a federal judge now buys organizations some time to figure out potential needs and next steps. The early freeze on federal funding was frustrating, to say the least. But that feeling only scratched the surface for healthcare officials in Colorado.
When funding to healthcare providers is abruptly or drastically cut off, for whatever reason and for whatever length of time, it is destabilizing and it is deeply worrisome.
In a lawsuit filed against the president, the Colorado Department of Public Safety says the state relies on more than $11 billion in federal funding each year. Denver Health says it receives about $89 million to support its programming and its patients,
of which we have almost 300,000.
Donna Lynn is the CEO of Denver Health. She says she woke up to a mess, unable to access their health care funds.
We funnel it to research, where we fund researchers who are doing, work on how do we improve our clinical quality of care? How do we do a drug trial? I mean, many things that improve the quality of care to patients and improve the lives of our physicians who are trying to deliver that care.
Access was restored by early afternoon. Around the same time, a federal judge blocked the funding freeze.
We got about $1.6 million of the amount of money that we tried to pull down today.
Lynn says that's the equivalent to 2 weeks' worth of money. She says hundreds of millions of Americans rely on Medicaid, Medicare, and other federal programs. And those healthcare recipients wouldn't be the only ones potentially impacted by a large-scale freeze.
Depriving people of those needed healthcare services is going to have catastrophic impacts on the health of the population, but also, quite frankly, politics. Denver Health says it will continue to provide care to patients and pay employees. But if the funding freeze does go through, the provider says it will need to reassess how to move forward. Janelle Finch, 9 News.
The Adams County Sheriff and other current and former deputies sued their own county, and now their attorneys say they're going to get millions of dollars.
9 News reporter Spencer Soysher is following this story. And Spencer, they say they were fired under the former sheriff for supporting his opponent in an election.
Yeah, these four men who worked for the Adams County Sheriff's Office say politics got in the way of policing. Today, their attorneys say a jury agreed with them. Walking in suits, no badges.
He terminated all of these individuals simply because they were supporting a different candidate.
Four former co-workers standing together again after a jury awarded them more than $5 million. Two former chiefs, a commander and a captain, sued Adams County and former Sheriff Rick Ragenborn, claiming their First Amendment rights were violated. They say they were fired for supporting Ragenborn's opponent in the 2018 election.
I had many good years left to serve and protect. Quite a bit of knowledge.
Timothy Coates is the only plaintiff who no longer works with the sheriff's office. He says he was forced to resign in retaliation and lost out on part of his career.
Far beyond cheating. I lost who I was. I served Adams County for a long time, and I appreciate the citizens of Adams County, but it was taken from me.
Gene Claps, who also, like Ragenborn, is a Democrat, is now the sheriff of Adams County. The lawsuit was filed in 2020. He's been fired, elected, and served as the sheriff for 2 years by the time the jury heard their case.
Really, this is a separate issue that we are facing with the violation of our constitutional rights, and running for sheriff was all about putting safer communities and stronger leadership back into our community, which we all deserve.
Former Sheriff Ragenborn declined to comment on the verdict. He's since been convicted of felony forgery for faking training records. We asked fellow plaintiff Mark Mitchell what he thinks about the former sheriff's legacy now.
I think I should keep that to myself.
The attorneys for the men said the $5 million figure was a combination of 4 years of salary, attorney's fees, and severance. We reached out to Adams County to ask if that $5 million will come from insurance or from maybe the county budget. They have not responded yet. Spencer Soischer, 9 News.